Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 2.1, 2.3 review. Remember to show all your work, and all lines must have arrows and be straight. So, question number 1 says that we need to identify the coordinates and quadrant of each point. So, I sometimes forget which quadrants are where, so I know that the first one is in the top right, and then it ends up making a C. So, there's quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So we write everything in Roman numerals. All right, so let's take a look at point A. Point A tells me that I need to go, we do the X first. So there's our X-axis and there's our Y-axis. So we have to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 spots, 5, 6. So A is 3, comma 6, and I can tell that that's in quadrant 1. And remember, when we're writing the quadrants, we have to use Roman numerals. Okay, for B, once again, we have to go to the right. I'm going to jump to 5, 6, and then we go down 5, 6. So 6 to the right is positive, and then 6 down is negative. And that's in quadrant 4. Okay, what's next? C, good. So do we go left or right at all? No. So if we don't go left or right, that's 0, and then we have to go down 2. Is it on an axis? Or on an axis, in a quadrant? Well, no, it's on the line. So you could either say two things. You could say y-axis, or you could just say none. Or you could say both and be very descriptive. Okay, in D, once again, I'm going to make that jump to 5, 6, 7, up 1. Okay, so I went left 7, left is negative, and then I went up 1. And that's in quadrant 2. All right, moving on. Next, it says to identify the domain and range of the relation below and use the table to write the coordinates. Okay, so why don't you guys pause this and see if you can get all of the coordinates down. Okay, so each point, just put it in one of the boxes. Good luck. Okay, so there's all the x and y's. Now, remember when it's talking about domain and range, domain is your input, which is your x. So if you want to write here, this is going to be our domain, and then our range is the y. We said that that was your output. Okay, so when we write domain, we're going to put the squigglies and then x. And now we're going to put the numbers in increasing order. So we start with the lowest number, which is -9, then -4, 0, 3, and 6. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing with the y. We're going to put them inside the brackets, and then I find the lowest number, which is -7, and then 0, 3, 6, and 8. So you're going to have to sort through those numbers to make sure that they're in increasing order. All right, number 3. Number 3 says, which of the following relations represents the function? Explain by using a complete sentence. All right, so let's look at those two relations. Now, a function needs to pass the vertical line test, which means I can draw a vertical line going through any of these points. And when we do that, no other points touch. Okay, So relation 1 passes, so yay. But let's look at relation 2. Okay, so far we're good. We're good. We're good. See how it passes twice there? That means relation 2 is not a function. So, which of the following represents a function? Well, relation number 1 represents a function, and we have to explain why. Well, why? Because it passed the vertical line test. That's what we were just doing. Okay? It passed the vertical line test. No points are above each other. Could be another way that you say that. All right. So let's look at number 4. It says graph each linear equation by using a table of values. Now, I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. The first way was what we talked about in class, where we look at the bottom of the fraction to know that we have to count by 3's. So we always want to have 0, and then I'm going to count by 3's. 3, 6, and then we're going to go -3, -6. And we have to plug these into our calculator. All right, I'm just going to show work for 2 of them. I'm going to do, let's just say -6. And then the other point I'm going to plug in is 0. The 0 one's easy because -1/3 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 6 is 6. I really don't need a calculator for that one. But for our other point, let's see how we plug it in. So I'm going to clear all that. I have -1/3 in parentheses times, we had -6 in parentheses plus 6. Okay, so I'm just going to double check that that's what our equation is, -1/3 times -6 plus 6. That's what I plugged in, right? All right, and then that equals 8. So my point right here would be 8. And why don't you pause the video and get the rest of those points? Go ahead, you can pause it. I'll still be here. So I can't remember if I told you to graph the points or not, but that would have been the next step to do. So we have 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4. And then the last thing we have to do is to draw a line through it. And that's what I'm getting ready to do right now. I'm getting my ruler out, and we want our line to go all the way through all of the points. And then every line needs to have arrows to show that it goes for on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay, now that's how we did it by hand. And we also talked about how you could do it using your calculator. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my window button and check to make sure that this is exactly what my window looks like. We've got -10, 10, 1, -10, 10, 1, and 1. Okay, so that's my window. So when I graph that, that's exactly what it looks like. I'm going to hit the y equals button, and I've already got the equation typed into my calculator. The negative sign in parentheses, 1 divided by 3. Then I hit the X button, plus 6. I can go and graph it, and I can see exactly what my graph looks like, which is exactly what we just did. And if I hit the second button in table, if you look at it, those are my answers. Well, there's -3. We did that one. I can scroll down. There's 0. There's 3. There's 6. And this is so we can double check our work. Okay? You need to know how to do this by hand and by using a calculator. Okay? All right, let's look at number 5. Number 5, all it says is y equals 6. Well, this is a special case. So if I know that y equals 6, wherever I see a y, because there's 3 points here, so I have to make 3 points, my y is always going to be 6. And now I can pick any x's. I know I want to pick 0, and then I want to pick a negative number and a positive number. So let's go ahead and graph those points. I have -5, +6, 0, +6, and then 4, 6. What type of line does that make? Yeah, that's a horizontal line. Okay, so when you see, I'm getting ready to use my ruler, draw my straight line, just a y equals all by itself, know that this is going to be a horizontal line. So if a y equals is just a horizontal line, what's an x equals going to be? Well, I think I know, but let's double check. So same as the y, I know that x, no matter what it is, or what the y is, my x is going to be -3. And so we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick a negative number, 0, and then a positive number. All right, let's graph. So I'm at -3, -6, -3, 0, and -3, +6. What type of line does that make? Yeah, this is a, whoa. And see, I tried to do that one freehand. It looks like I really need to use my ruler. There we go. Yeah, that's a vertical line. Just remember when we're making these, we don't want baby lines. We want the lines to go all the way up and all the way down, all the way through your graph. Okay, so when we see X, we know that that's going to be a vertical line. Okay, well, the bottom of the page says continue to the next page, so let's take a look. Number 7 says to use the graph below to answer the following questions. Write final answers on the lines provided. All right, so A says to plot a point in quadrant 3 and label it A. So yours can be different than mine right now. I'm going to plot a point. It doesn't matter where it is, but it has to be in A, or quadrant 3. So did I hit quadrant 3? Well, there's 1, there's 2, ding, 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 there's 3, and there's 4. So what are the coordinates of point A? Well, I went here's 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's -8. And then I went down 4, so -4. Now it tells me to draw a vertical line that passes through A. Well, we just talked about vertical lines. Vertical lines are up and down. So, vertical line, there it is. And remember, if your point is different than mine, it's going to be, your vertical line is going to be somewhere else. So now it says 2 other points, label them B and C. So I need 2 more points. There's B and there's C. And it's, oh, I forgot to label. So there was A. I think I said this one was B. And the purple one was C. So B, what are the coordinates of B? Well, my X value is going to be the same because it's a vertical line. So that's -8. And then I'm at +5, 6, 7. So +7. The coordinates of C, once again, I'm at -8, but I'm on the x-axis, so that means I went up 0. And there we go. All right, number 8 says use the graph below to answer the following questions. Write the final answers on the line provided. So plot a point on the y-axis. So if you get, remember, x is horizontal and the y-axis is vertical. So plot a point on the y-axis and label it D. There we go. So now I have to label it, and I'm labeling it D. What are the coordinates? Well, I didn't go left or right, so that means my x value is 0, and then I went down -6. Now it says to draw a horizontal line that goes through D. Okay, so horizontal, it's going to go straight across. And what is the equation? Well, if we look on our other side real quick, that horizontal line just had y equals. So I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. It's going to be y equals, and it's going to be y equals whatever that value is. Okay, well that y value was -6, so that means that my equation is y equals -6. All right, number 9. Number 9 you're going to see a lot on tests and quizzes. It says to use the graph below to answer the following questions, and once again, write your answer on the following the lines provided. The first thing that we have to do is draw the point 4, 5. So, +4, +5. There's my point. Next, it tells me to graph the line of x equals -7. Well, x equals -7, that is a vertical line. So at -7, which is right there, I'm going to graph my line. As I draw my line, I'm making sure to add the arrows. And now C is saying at what point do the two lines, oh, I forgot A, it's to draw a horizontal line. Whoops. Okay, so I'm going to draw a horizontal line through that first point. And the question is asking, where do those points meet? Well, there's the point right there. And what is that point? Where's that point located? Well, my x going to the left, I had to go -7 up, and then I had to go +5 up. Okay, so -7 to the left and +5. Okay guys, well that's it for the 2.1, 2.3 review. If you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. That's why we get paid the big bucks. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off. Thanks for watching.